What
I did
was
not mean to
that?
click that one. I don't know what that was.
That was a
That was
church
odd.
service.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I feel like we're at a funeral. That was not the one I meant to click, but welcome if you were here. And apologies, I think. Flurry Sports is here. Also, we are all part of Let's Go Wisconsin as well, a new site just about Wisconsin culture and sports. If you would like to check that out, that's letsgowy.com. But also flurrysports.org. We are going to be having a ton of fantasy football content, including this stream, but we will be having, probably one stream per week for a while. During the season, we're going to have stuff hopefully pretty much every single weekday. We got a free draft kit that we are about to get to work on that we will have available to you. All kinds of stuff. And also, if you're watching this video, leave in the comments. I would personally love to know what kind of stuff would be good for you in your perfect draft kit.
Agreed.
Yeah, just to know, if you ask us for something specific, we'll pretty much do it. That's kind of where I'm at this current moment. So let us know. We'll be here to help you. And if you have any questions about fantasy football, jump in the chat as well. But tonight we are talking Dynasty, since a lot of Dynasty rookie drafts are going on right now. I know us three just had two of ours, a Superflex league and a non-Superflex league. So that threw things off a little bit. But this is a really weird rookie class, I feel like. And I know, Luke, you've had a lot of questions about like where we would value some of these guys. And I feel like that after pretty much the top three, I feel like that's how everybody's feeling right now.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of how in reality the NFL draft went as well. There's a lot of question marks about these receivers. The fact that it was a quote unquote deep tight end draft make things weird for fantasy football. Quarterbacks, a lot of question marks. Quarterbacks next year supposedly really good, so that kind of throws a wrench into how we value people. So hopefully we can get into some of those questions. If you have any questions, like I said, let us know. But I went through and ranked my top 40 rookies for Dynasty, PPR Dynasty, and I think I'm just going to read through some of these, maybe kind of break them into tiers in my mind, and we can just kind of talk about these players. So I think number one is consensus. I don't think anybody has an argument for number one other than Bijan Robinson, right? Like, would you guys even consider anybody else?
I don't think so. We actually in one of our leagues, Trevor and I traded, and I ended up with the one spot. Solely because I wanted Bijan Robinson.
Right.
I'm kind of packed at other positions. I don't think it matters who you have at any other position. Like Bijan Robinson's an instant starter, week one starter. He's going to be a 15-year starter for you.
And Trevor, so you trade that pick away. It's a super flex, so basically a two quarterback league. You have Russell Wilson, then you had Tom Brady. So you pretty much only had one quarterback. If you held on to that pick, would you still have gone Bijan Robinson?
Probably. I think you have to, especially with quarterbacks in a two quarterback league are a little tough because you never know when they're going to go. But when there's a run, there's a run. But I mean, you had to go Bijan. I mean, I love Jahmyr Gibbs. I think he's going to be great for Detroit. But I mean, to your point, there was never a question in my mind. It was just, if I can get Gibbs at 3, that's great. But number one, there was no question.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. And if I was in that same situation, I think I would do the same.
I think I'm sorry to cut you off, Zach, but I think you have to take him, right? Like, he was by far the best player in this draft. I mean, people are talking about him being, the best running back prospects in Saquon Barkley. And I mean, other than Saquon's injuries, like Saquon would be fucking awesome if he wasn't hurt 3 out of his 4 years or whatever it is. Like, this is what Bijan Robinson is to me.
And again, we're grading that. My rankings here are for one quarterback, PPR, Dynasty rookies. But for just a really quick side tangent, just fantasy football as a whole, like, I love Bijan Robinson as a talent. I think he immediately steps in and, like, I don't think he needs to prove anything to me. Like, I would consider him possibly a top 5 talent at the running back position in the NFL.
Great.
But then he gets behind that Falcons offensive line, which is big and nasty and really fucking good. And he's going to be used out of the slot. Like, he's going to be lining up a wide receiver too. So, like, some people are talking, should he be considered a number 1 overall fantasy football just redraft? I don't think I would go that far, at least until we see him in preseason training camp and stuff. but like,
I
think
agree. There's an argument.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that says a lot.
Right.
And
also, we all know that Arthur Smith wants to run the ball like no tomorrow.
Right. Yeah. And it's not like, I really like this Atlanta Falcons offense. I think the only question mark is really at quarterback and Desmond Ritter. But I don't think Desmond Ritter is going to be worse than what Marcus Mariota was last year.
Agreed.
To be completely honest. Taylor Heineke's there too. So if he is bad, then Heineke, I would assume, would come in.
I was going to say, I don't necessarily know that Desmond Ritter has a long leash or anything. I think Atlanta's they can win that division this year. And I think in order to do that, they need average quarterback play at best.
Exactly. I mean, they were competitive last year. That division sucked, but they were competitive in that division last year when nobody thought they should be. And that was with injuries. So healthy, 2 tight ends that I think are threats, as much as I love to discredit Kyle Pitts. Like, he's a threat. And then Jonnu Smith is there. I think that's big, especially for the running game. Like, they're going to be mauling people. And I'm not sure if anybody saw clips, because it seemed like nobody really watched the Falcons except for us, because we love Cordell Patterson and everything like that. This offensive line gets to the locker room and chugs fucking beers after the game.
Yeah.
Like, they're out there to maul people and chug beers. And that's the team that I want my running back for. They're running behind these guys.
That's all you ask for in an offensive lineman. Just maul a guy and chug a beer after.
Yeah. Perfect situation for Bijan Robinson. My number 2, and Trevor, you brought him up. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is my number 2, but I would put Jackson Smith and Jigba in that same tier. But Gibbs, Smith, and Jigba are 2 and 3 for me. And I'm a little worried about Smith and Jigba to start his career. I think he's the most ready wide receiver in this class. I think he's clearly the best. It's just that situation. Like, I don't know what that offense is truly going to look like. He's also got Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf still there. They got a pretty good running game. So, like, I just don't think he's going to see the amount of targets to be extremely good off the bat, but I think he's good enough to survive whatever regime this is, maybe go to another team and be great. So I like him, but Jahmyr Gibbs is he's another guy who's going to be just a dog right away at running back for Detroit.
Yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs is just a playmaker. And just to speak on JSN for a second, I know, I understand he's getting older and injuries or whatever, but it feels like people are like just discrediting Tyler Lockett as a bad player. Like, the dude's still a very good wide receiver, and you have to imagine if he's healthy, he gets at least 750 and 6-7 touchdowns this year. And Zach, I'm with you. Maybe JSN 2 years from now will kind of be that guy that you're drafting for him now. But I'm just to talk about Jahmyr Gibbs. Saw him at Alabama. The dude's electric with the ball in his hands, can line up all over the field. You have to imagine Dan Campbell's already putting in plays that we're going to see in December as the Lions are on a playoff push here. Of course he'll be off the field, but I would imagine that Jahmyr Gibbs is on the field a lot more than he's off the field this year.
Well, they traded away DeAndre Swift in a fucking heartbeat. They did it immediately.
Yeah.
Like, if they had any questions about Gibbs, they would have tried to make something work out with Swift. But they're like, oh, you don't want to be here? Fine. Bye. See ya. Like, I think that tells you all you need to know about Jahmyr Gibbs. Trevor, any thoughts about those 2? I know you already talked about Gibbs, so I assume you agree there.
Yeah. I was actually really mad that you got Jahmyr Gibbs at 5 in 2 quarterback PPR. Like, if I didn't need a quarterback that bad, I would have taken him at 3. I think anybody that's in Dynasty that is like me and is really struggling or has put together a bad team, as much as I love Bijan, I think if you can trade back 1 or 2 spots, get a haul to move back just 1 or 2 spots and still get Gibbs, you're fine. To your point, Dan Campbell's going to have plays for him. This offensive line is great as well. I don't know exactly how they compare to Atlanta, but, I mean, they're good. They got Penei Sewell, Hall of Famer there. So I agree. I mean, it's these 3 guys and then kind of everybody else.
To speak up for everyone listening, to speak on the haul that Trevor got for what I got the number 1 pick, what Trevor got was we swapped first-round picks. He got my first next year, and I think you got a 3rd or something this year.
Something like that.
Yeah. So if you're in a rookie draft, if you're looking to move back, that's kind of around the asking price.
Yeah, I think so. Just because of how good Bijan Robinson is. Like, we knew who was going to go there when he traded for it.
Yep.
And I'm not sure how Gibbs fell to 5. And I'm not saying this is the strategy to take for dynasty drafts and stuff, but like you were talking about how your quarterback needy and stuff like that. Like, to me, unless it's an extreme need and you really can't even really function, I'm pretty much going best available no matter what in dynasty drafts, just because there's always going to be people in your league that are panicking. So like you can trade. If I pick Gibbs and he's really good and I needed a quarterback, I could trade Gibbs or another running back for a quarterback. I think that's fine.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just looking for performers.
The only reason why that changed for me was the super flex. And then obviously,
Sure.
If you're in a league where you're expanding, you can only protect a certain amount of players. Might as well take him, because I'm not going to protect. I love Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm not protecting him over a Dameon Pierce or somebody like that yet.
Sure. Next little tier, I'd consider it maybe a 2-person tier, both same position. I have Jordan Addison at 4, then Quentin Johnston at 5. Jordan Addison's going to be the wide receiver 2 in Minnesota next to Justin Jefferson, which is great. Perfect situation for him. I think he is the second most pro-ready wide receiver in this class. Liked him a lot. I think he is the second best just overall in this class. But obviously, we know what defenses are going to be paying attention to. So he's just going to get a lot of targets and easy looks by default. And I think he's going to be really good right away. Like, I think he's going to be just a season-long fantasy contributor this year.
I agree. Like, Adam Thielen made a career on being the wide receiver 2 in Minnesota behind Diggs and Jefferson. I don't see why Addison's any worse than Adam Thielen moving forward.
This Vikings offense is good enough to support at least 3 pass catchers.
Yep.
And I mean, Hawkinson was incredible down the stretch for him last year. So he's another guy that defense is going to have to give some love to and respect to. So Addison will be great.
And then Quentin Johnston, like, he has the prototypical athleticism, body, all of that to be a great outside wide receiver in the NFL. He needs to get better. Like, he's just doesn't play to his size. He's not aggressive. He's not going to be playing against Big 12 corners. A lot of things need to go right for him, but also, again, he's the wide receiver 3 on this team. And I don't say that as a bad thing. I say that as a good thing. Like, Keenan Allen's going to draw people. Mike Williams is going to draw people. And we need to remember this offense as a whole is going to get a lot better with what's his face from Dallas as the new offensive coordinator there now. Kellen Moore. Like, he's a million times better than, was it still Joe Lombardi last year?
I think so.
Like, he fucking sucks.
Yeah.
He needs to get out of the league. He's a position coach, I should say. He's not a terrible coach. He shouldn't be a play caller ever again.
Well, and on top of that, too, I mean, this might be the most injury-prone team in the NFL over the past how many years? Like, one of their receivers is going to get hurt for multiple weeks. He's going to step right up into that role, and he's going to have to take the targets.
And on top of that, he's playing with a top 5 quarterback in the NFL right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we saw Josh Palmer have weeks of relevancy last year. We're pretty confident Mike Williams is going to get hurt. Like, I think Mike Williams is great for fantasy this year if he's healthy. And if he gets hurt, then I would assume, who steps up into that role is Johnston. So,
I mean, also
great situation.
As much as us 3 love him, like, Keenan Allen's no stranger to injuries either.
No, he's what, maybe 32?
Yeah, he's getting up there.
Yeah, for sure. 6 and 7, that's where I put my quarterback. Some people have them going later. I think these 2 are good enough and have enough potential to take chances at 6 and 7. I have Anthony Richardson first and then Bryce Young, just solely because of potential. Like, I think Anthony Richardson could be better just because he's more athletic. He's bigger. He could just rack up yards on the ground, and he has a play caller now that has successfully called offenses for that. So I like Richardson ahead of him. Bryce Young, he's so small. Like, in my mind, I'm like, yeah, he's small. And then all of a sudden you see him next to just normal sized humans, and it's scary. So that's a little weird. but I still believe in him. I think he's incredibly smart. I think Jim Caldwell and Frank Reich are going to make him really good, to be completely honest. If he's healthy in, maybe next draft or something, they add one more legitimate offensive weapon for him. Like, I think he could be very good. He's probably the better of the two or of the three rookie quarterbacks for this year. But I have 6 and 7. So I guess Trevor or Luke, you can go first. Like, would you rank them that way, Richardson and Young? And would you feel comfortable taking them that high then?
I would rank them that way, and that's solely off the fact that Anthony Richardson. There's a lot of questions coming in, like he only started 12 games or something in college, yada yada. But I mean, the athleticism, he exudes it. Yeah, I mean, it's everywhere. A lot of times, to me, when young quarterbacks are kind of fucked in the pocket, a lot of it's running, and I think right now there's not many quarterbacks that are better runners than Anthony Richardson in the NFL. So that just screams points on points on points to me. Especially like Trevor, you did, take him in a 2-quarterback league. I don't want to say it's like a second running back, but I think it helps a lot to have a young quarterback who's willing to run, maybe even taking one look downfield and then drop it or then tucking and running. That's the sole reason I have him ahead of Bryce Young. If I'm saying career spans, who's a better quarterback, 100% Bryce Young. I think he's a much better passer. And Zach, to your point, like Carolina, of course they don't have any, like they don't really have superstars, but they have guys on their offense that can make plays.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Bryce Young is definitely the better quarterback. I think for fantasy, though, like you said, Richardson is better. Running quarterbacks really don't need to do that much offensively using their arms if they have a good running day or even decent. I mean, one rushing touchdown changes everything. Not saying Bryce Young can't get that, but obviously Richardson is more of that. I love taking him 6 or 7. Obviously, I wouldn't take him anything higher unless you're a 2-quarterback league and you're definitely drastic measures because we know how much we like the top 3 guys. But yeah, I mean, 6 and 7, I like these guys, and I do have them a tier above Stroud as well.
And I mean, even if we include Stroud, like these rookies get to play in the AFC and NFC South. That helps a lot. Big like time. Those divisions are so shitty. We'll get into. I took Sleeper Fantasies Rookie Dynasty ADP. We'll get into that a little bit more later, maybe. But just inject into this conversation, they have the 3 quarterbacks all in a row, 4 through 6, so earlier than I have them. But they go Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson, which I thought is kind of interesting. So they have Stroud going 5th overall. That's the average draft position. And I disagree with it. But
and just to speak to your point, Zach, you asked, are you comfortable with taking like the 7th, 6th, 7th, 8th spot? I mean, I think I am. I don't know how many rookies are going to affect your team more than those guys will at 6, 7, or 8.
We're now in the position like everybody has major question marks already. I think. Like, sure. I think we're in a big tier. Like if I was breaking those into tiers, now we may have a tier of 6, 7 guys. I don't know. But yeah, so I have 6 and 7, Richardson, Young. And then I have 2 wide receivers back to back. And these are guys that are going a lot later. But I have Jonathan Mingo as my 8th overall. He is in Carolina with Bryce Young. And then I have Marvin Mims in Denver at 9. Again, crowded wide receiver room, kind of like Jackson Smith and Jigba. I just think Sean Payton had to have been the guy to pick him. Absolutely. Right? Like he's the one who has the control over it. So he picked him with a thought in mind, and he's going to be in the plans for a Sean Payton offense. And I like that a lot. So I have Mingo 8, Mims 9, just for the sake of conversation. Mims average draft positions 30th among rookies, and Mingo's 25th among rookies. So I'm way, way, way higher than the ADP. But that ADP seems weird. Like those guys went kind of in the middle, I would say, of where I had them in the ADP for both of our rookie drafts. So they'll probably be going in the teens a lot of times, maybe just early double digits, but I don't know. What's your guys' thoughts on Mingo and Mims?
Go ahead, Trevor.
For me, I was kind of shocked. Obviously, in our Flurry League, I took Hyatt over Mims. I'm a really big Hyatt guy, but like I'm looking at guys that we'll talk about later: Flowers, Rice, Downs, and I like Downs, but like if you look at those guys compared to Mims, obviously Mims right now has a like kind of congested room, but he just seems like an NFL wide receiver. And to your point, he has a good coach. He has a Luke, you won't agree, but a decent quarterback. Like you look at Zay Flowers, he's in Baltimore. Do we trust that? No. Rasheed Rice, Kansas City. Good luck. That's a log jam, you know. So with so many questions, I think I'm surprised Marvin Mims is projected to go that late.
And, and I agree with you, Trevor. All except for the Russell Wilson thing, but and just to speak on Mingo, like you would have to imagine that Mingo gets immediate playtime, immediate targets.
Yeah.
I mean, Carolina's overhauling their offense right now, obviously with a new quarterback and receiver. I said there's playmakers there. There is playmakers there that screams, single coverage to a rookie all game. And you guys know how I love the rookie connections. I would imagine that Bryce Young and Mingo it might be a thing for the next couple of years here.
Yeah, Carolina wide receivers right now: Terrace Marshall, DJ Chark, Adam Thielen, Laviska Shenault, and then Jonathan Mingo. So Mingo's probably, I mean, he's a starter.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely room for him to be number one 4 or 5 weeks into the season here.
Yeah, like we know Adam Thielen's going to be locking down the slot. He's probably going to be the quarterback's best friend there. Hayden Hurst is actually pretty good as well, but yeah, I don't trust Chark to stay healthy, and we truly have no idea what Terrace Marshall is yet.
Right. I also don't trust Chark to run any route less than like 30 yards downfield.
True. Okay, so then number 10 is where I have CJ Stroud. I kind of like CJ Stroud, and I love the offense that he's in. Like, I think he fits perfectly into that Shanahan-like offense. He's going to be a pocket passer there. He has weapons there in Houston, actually, young weapons. And again, the defenses he plays against are not great. He's got a running game. He's got a pretty good offensive line. Nothing too crazy, but not bad at all. Like,
and I was just going to say, Trevor mentioned him too, but like Dameon Pierce is more than capable of kind of carrying an offense when need be, given Stroud's rookie status.
And they have Singletary now, who I don't think he's anything great, but as a backup, he's a good guy.
For sure. I just keep like having flashbacks to that play last year when Dameon Pierce like stiff arms every person on the field.
Hell yeah.
It's just, he is so good. But their wide receivers are not bad, man. Nico Collins, I think, is underrated. Robert Woods is there now. John Mechie, again, like he's going to be added to the offense. We were pretty high on him.
I'll say, Zach, cut you off real quick. If you're listening, John Mechie is available in your league right now. Pick him up.
Yeah, for sure. I think he could be really good. Tank Dell, who CJ Stroud specifically told his team to draft.
Playmaker.
I love that rookies are allowed to do that, but if Aaron Rodgers does that, he is,
different show, Zach. Different show.
Okay, you're right. But Tank Dell's a dog. Noah Brown's good. Xavier Hutchinson's another rookie. So
and they got Dalton Schultz.
Yeah. They got Dalton Schultz.
I forgot about that.
So yeah, the offense isn't bad. It's not bad at all. Their offensive line actually is pretty. I like their offensive line. Not going to lie. That's a pretty good offensive line.
You would have to imagine, too, right, that Houston, with DeMeco Ryans as coach now, with probably a strong emphasis on defense. You would imagine that defense is, maybe not best in the league, but somewhat capable of kind of keeping their own. They're not going to be, losing 30-0 anymore.
They'll be better.
Yeah.
They'll be quite a bit better. Okay. So that's top 10. I'm just going to read off a few in a row, and then we'll talk about them. But at 11, I have Zach Charbonnet. In Seattle, I have Zay Flowers 12. I'm a lot lower than other people. I actually moved him up because I was disrespecting him too much. I had him at like 18 before I did that. I hate Zay Flowers, but I have Zay Flowers at 12. Rasheed Rice at 13 in Kansas City. Devin Akane in Miami, running back at 14. And then I have the 3 tight ends in a row. I have Dalton Kincaid from the Chargers at 15. Michael Mayer from the Raiders at 16, Sam Laporta from the Lions at 17.
And Kincaid from the Bills.
Yeah. What did I say?
Chargers.
Oh, yeah. I thought they should get him. You're right. The Bills. So what do you think about those names, is there anything that specifically stands out that you want to talk about?
I mean, I have no idea what to think about Charbonnet. He's kind of the question mark to me.
Like I think he's good.
I agree he's good, but what's his usage, this year?
Right, let's start with that. I think they realize that Kenneth Walker isn't an every down guy. So it's good to have someone to spell that. And I think Seattle I think they want to run the football. Still, like Geno Smith isn't going to lead them to the promised land. So let's put him in good positions. I think that's kind of what they're going for here.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I was actually going to ask, somebody's got to sell me on Charbonnet and A-Chain. I like A-Chain, what I've seen from him, but I'm hearing way too much about possible other running backs coming to Miami. I don't know what's going to happen there. And I like him. He's great, but he's 5'9". I mean, he's literally my size, an extra 20 pounds. I shouldn't be a running back in the NFL. I'm just going to say that. And on top of that, I mean,
don't sell yourself short, Trevor.
They still have Mostert and Wilson, so like I don't know where he fits in. I don't really know how his size fits in. And I mean, obviously, if they get cooked, then what is he, like the fourth running back? He can pass Wilson or Mostert, but like even if he does, what does that get him?
First off, is A-Chain for sure how you pronounce his name? I have no idea.
That's what they said during the draft.
Shane.
Okay, so Shane. I like him. Like I think he's small for sure, but I think running back that doesn't matter as long as you have good feel. And I think he's got really good feel. Like I think he has good patience. I think he's super quick. I think he is perfect for this running back in this running game, essentially in the Shanahan running scheme. I think he's perfect for it. So you're talking, I'm not sure exactly what you guys think about Mike McDaniel as a coach, but I think he knows how to call offense, and I think he knows how to call up a good running game. So the fact that he chose this to be the running back, I like. I think he still likes Mostert as the number one guy, but Mostert always gets hurt. So I think he's right there. I think he's going to be in the mix. I think it's going to be a confusing and frustrating fantasy running back backfield. Like it's going to be a hot hand approach, like all of these Shanahan systems are, except for maybe the 49ers now that they got McCaffrey. But like, yeah, I think he's going to be good and super frustrating to own.
And just to speak on your point, I do like Mike McDaniel ever since he was vaping on the sideline because I think that's funny as hell. But I'm totally with you guys on the running back by committee, hot hand, however you want to say that. I've said this on our fantasy football shows for the last, I think we're going on our fourth year now. I'm not a huge fan of running back by committees. I've fucked around with that before, and you always start the wrong guy. But you would have to imagine that a Shani, you have to imagine that he probably gets what Miami gets. I mean, he's probably on the longest leash, is what I'm trying to say, of the Miami running backs right
now. The only reason I don't agree is because I have flashbacks to what the fuck's that 49ers running back's name that is now on the Eagles from Ohio State? Trey Sermon. He was drafted, second or third round?
Yeah, you're right.
So, I mean, Ashane is way better than Trey Sermon. I can promise that much, at least. Like, I don't mind him. Zay Flowers, I like him as a talent a lot. I mean, we're recording this on the same day that Lamar Jackson came out and said that this new Ravens offense is going to allow him to pass more and run less. That sounds like they're going to lose more games to me.
Yes,
that's what that means. I don't trust Lamar Jackson to process the field, throw it to the right guy. They should manufacture easy ways to get Zay Flowers the ball, but I don't think it's going to be often. I think he is going to be asked to play a similar role and position to Odell Beckham, at least for this year, which I don't like because Odell's better. I mean, no matter what you think of him, he is. So that's that. Rashee Rice, I think he's the outside wide receiver now for the Chiefs. I think he has a pretty locked in role. I don't see anybody there beating him out for that. So I like that. There's just a ton of mouths to feed there.
I'm sorry, just to speak on Zay Flowers real quick. All of a sudden, I don't want to say the Ravens have a good receiving core or anything, but all of a sudden the Ravens have guys to catch the ball. With Odell, you mentioned him. I mean, Rashad Bateman's going to be back off of an injury. Mark Andrews is fully healthy, and even their running back, their running back room is going to be fully healthy to start the year too. Given everything goes good in training camp and off season stuff. It all of a sudden it feels like the Ravens don't need a receiver anymore, and I think Demarcus Robinson might be coming back for them, and there's kind of a lot of pieces around Zay Flowers that kind of turn me off of him. I know people are drafting him in the first. I think he's been going first round in rookie drafts. I don't know if I'd spend 112 on him or anything. And I think if you have an early pick on the second round, he's not worth the bad. Let's trade up and get him because like you said, he's going to be somewhat involved in this offense.
No Demarcus Robinson, but Devin Duvernay is still there. I still like him.
Yeah.
Nelson Aguilar is there. That's about it. But
I don't.
Likely though, a tight end.
And yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't get this at all. Even if he was to be the number one option, let's say all the receivers ahead of him get hurt, where has that taken the Ravens' number one options in years past? It is really gotten them nowhere. So
also nobody wants to see Lamar pass. We want to see him run. What are we doing here, Baltimore?
Well, the way this offensive line is built, they're built to be fucking brawlers up front too.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna run the football. There's no way they don't. And even if they experiment with being more of a 50-50 approach, it's not going to work. So also Lamar's going to drop back to pass, make one read, not going to be open. He's going to run it anyway.
Hell yeah. That's the Lamar we like.
It is. And that's probably when the Ravens are at their best.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, for fantasy, that sucks.
I'll also say buy stock in J.K. Dobbins now.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I still like Gus Edwards as well. He was hurt pretty much all last year. Mm-hmm. I think he's really solid as well. Zay Flowers going 10th overall.
Hold on, I gotta turn my light on.
But those tight ends, Kincaid, I mean, he's battling with what's the other guy's name there? Tight end for Buffalo. Dawson Knox. I think Kincaid is clearly the best receiving tight end out of this class. But he's at best maybe the third or fourth passing option, so I don't love it.
And he's also Josh Allen. Josh Allen it's Josh Allen. Josh Allen is going to make 75% of those plays. We talk about it forever. Yeah. It's Cam Newton in the red zone with Josh Allen all over again here.
He's got plenty of receivers too. I mean, people forget Khalil Shakir exists. I mean, they got receivers out the wazoo there.
For sure. So I'm lower on Kincaid. I still put him first among these tight ends. But that's sort of for the long term. Michael Mayer I have, again, at 16. I think he's the most pro-ready tight end. He goes to the Raiders. He's going to be featured in that offense right away. I don't think he's amazing. I think he's fine. Sam Laporta should be the tight end 1 for Detroit right away. I could also see Detroit saying he kind of has to earn his stripes, sort of an old school way. So maybe it's a little bit slower start in that regard. But I think he's going to be really good. It would not surprise me in the absolute slightest if he's the best tight end from this group. I like him a ton.
I don't disagree.
Where did
Laporta go to college? Iowa? Is he an Iowa guy?
Yeah. So sleeper, Michael Mayer's going first among these tight ends at 11. Kincaid's going 12. And then again, Laporta is going 27th. So if you can somehow grab Laporta late in your second round, even middle of the second round, I think that's very clearly the best value.
If you had let's say two, you had 1-1, 2-1, 3-1, the first pick of everything. You took maybe a Zay Flowers in 2-1, and Laporta sitting there at 2-6. Are you trading up for him?
I am.
Yeah.
Especially if you have a legit tight end 1 already, and you can wait for a year. I love it.
Okay. And you legitimately did.
Did I?
Yeah.
I don't even know which league it is. But I like him a lot. Next group, or at least these next 2 are guys that I love. I think they are incredible players. Is just sort of the situations we have to see. Josh Downs, 18. I think he might be the second best wide receiver in this class. He's just a slot guy, and he's catching passes from Anthony Richardson. So we'll see how that goes. Roshan Johnson at 19. I was trying to figure out a way to put him higher because I think he's really good. I think he's going to be really good. Chicago knows how to draft running backs, and he's competing with Deontay Foreman, who's on a 1-year deal, and Khalil Herbert, who the regime doesn't have any ties to. They didn't draft him.
Yep.
So I think Roschon Johnson's going to be like a passing down guy, especially right away. But he might be the RB1 by the end of this year. And if he's not, he's going to be the RB1 next year, I think. So
And
I think he's really good.
Yeah, I'm happy you brought up Khalil Herbert. I think a lot of people are going to be disappointed with Khalil Herbert this year. Zach, like you said, there's no allegiance to him or anything right now. He's he's kind of an expendable guy to Chicago for me right now. Dante Foreman, you imagine he gets the first crack at it, right? He's on a kind of a prove it, and give me 500 yards, we'll sign you again. Is Dante Foreman good enough to get you 500 yards in a season? Who the hell knows? And I think that stacks all your money up into the rookie here for Johnson. And I love that. We all know Chicago wants to run the ball. They've been doing it for 90 fucking years. So why stop now?
I don't know why people are like, well, Deontay Foreman's got this job locked up. Why is he the unbeatable RB1 now? Because he was fine in Carolina last year? Like, watch those games. Teams were backed up and like, okay, let's just make sure they don't score over the top on us quick and we'll win these games, essentially. And
Carolina, they almost won a division for doing that.
Yeah, they stole some games, but like he's fine. He's not great.
Well, their third running back and the only one who would possibly, in my mind, challenge him for receiving work is Travis Homer. I don't think he's played more than 5 games in a row in probably his entire life.
Travis Homer, man, he's not in Seattle anymore.
No. And I mean, even if Travis Homer is good, like, are you really going to let him beat out Roschon Johnson, who
Fuck no.
people were very high on? I mean, if Bijan Robinson wasn't ahead of him, dude's starting at almost every college in America.
Agreed. And Serge, I see your question. We're going to cook through these rankings really quick, and then we'll get to questions. So if anyone else is watching, definitely send them in as well. 20th, I have Kendre Miller. I am lower on him. He's in New Orleans, right?
Yep.
Yes. People like him a lot. New Orleans does this shit every year.
Yep.
They right away, first day of camp. This is the best player we've ever seen. They do it every fucking year. So don't feed into it. He's fine. He is not the next Alvin Kamara. He's okay. He's fine. Tank Bigsby in Jacksonville, I have at 21. I think he has a chance to carve out a pretty significant role in year one.
He's interesting.
He is interesting. He feels like James Robinson. Like he's going to be good until they don't need him.
I agree. And it feels like he can easily jump to Michael Hasty on the depth chart.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. 22, Cedric Tillman. I prefer him as the Tennessee wide receiver from Tennessee. Tillman went to Cleveland, so he is probably the wide receiver 4 there to start. But he's a big outside guy. He doesn't do anything amazing, but he does everything good, I feel like. I think he's going to be pretty damn good, to be completely honest. So I'm at 22. I have Hyatt immediately after at 23. I mean, he's got talent. I just don't trust the Giants wide receivers.
Yeah, I was just going to talk about Tillman. I know people love Donovan Peoples-Jones, and for good reason. I don't think Donovan Peoples-Jones is like the greatest receiver of all time or anything. Like I think Tillman has a good opportunity to also, at maybe towards the end of the year to kind of jump him as kind of the guy in Cleveland.
That's fair. I mean, there's still Amari Cooper and Elijah Moore there too.
Sure. Right.
Like, I think that entire offense is really interesting.
Yeah.
Like Cleveland could be good this year. And
they have a good enough quarterback to spread the ball around as well.
Yeah, people forget that Deshaun Watson's good.
Mm-hmm.
like let's not forget that. Okay, now we got some bigger question marks. 24, I have Luke Musgrave, tight end 1 for the Packers. I like him a lot. I think he's an athletic freak. System, we'll see. Quarterback play, we'll see. The Packers have a thing, they just don't use tight ends well.
Right. I mean, and the good thing about Musgrave, right, is he's going to be on the field, right? Matt LaFleur loves his 2 tight end sets, and you damn well that Josiah DeGuara is not going to be the leading tight end receiver. I think all signs point to Musgrave will be on the field. Will he get the ball? Who knows, but at least he'll be on the field.
I would think so. Like, I don't think he's the most developed out of the Packers tight ends in terms of blocking.
Agreed.
I think he can be good. I'm not kidding when I say, again, different show, but I'm a little afraid Tyler Davis is going to be the starter at tight end, which is so stupid. but I think there's a chance. Even Tucker Kraft, like I think, could start at tight end. But Luke Musgrave, clearly the best talent. He's a wide receiver at tight end. He's a freak. He's awesome.
Jimmy Graham.
Michael Wilson, I have at 25, wide receiver out of Stanford at the Cardinals. He went in the third round. He could have gone in the second round if he wasn't hurt. Michael Wilson's really, really good.
Colt McCoy also might be a better passer than Kyler Murray.
I don't think that's a debate. I think he's much better. I'm not even, DeAndre Hopkins is going to be out of there soon. So I think Wilson's going to be rising up the depth chart quickly. If he stays healthy, I think he's good. I think his last injury was a broken collarbone, so I don't think you can take anything away from that. It's not like he keeps pulling a hammy or anything. So I like him. And then Jaden Reed, 26, Packers. I'm much lower on him than everybody else. I don't think he's that good. And then Tank Dell, 27, at Houston, slot wide receiver. I think he's incredibly good. He's just small. And the fact that Stroud specifically said he wanted him, I would assume that Stroud's going to be passing to him a lot.
I wonder if Tank Dell returns punts too this year.
Probably.
Yeah.
Trevor, thoughts on that entire group I rattled off? Because I think there's a dividing line after this.
Yeah, there's a dividing line clearly. The only thing that worries me is you can't take the nickname Tank when you're 5'9". Like, I know this has nothing to do with Dynasty, but that's so misleading. That's not right. You can't be doing that. But Michael Wilson is solid. I've looked at a lot more of him. He just seems like a Cardinals player to me. Maybe that's because they had Michael Floyd, and he just reminds me of Michael Floyd. But yeah, I mean, at this point, you're kind of just taking a shot in the dark. I don't really think there's any other rhyme or reason to take some of these players. So, I mean, you can't really miss down here.
I agree with you, Trevor. And Jaden Reed, the Packers, he's another guy that, like, to me, he'll be on the field at least.
Yeah. There will be orders from up top that he will be on the field. 28, I have Tyjae Spears. He's the new runner in Tennessee. They basically just threw away last year's draft class. They don't exist anymore. So Haskins is no longer the RB2. It's now Spears. Could he be something? Maybe. I don't know. I'm lower on him than other people.
Yeah, if I'm a Derrick Henry owner, I'm trying to get him.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. But even still, like, if Henry goes down, they should take a by committee approach.
Sure.
But I don't know if they will. Hendon Hooker at 29, obviously is not going to be playing this year. I just think long-term prospect. I like him more than my 30th ranked player, which is Will Levis. So if you're desperate at quarterback and you're playing the long game, I would rather go Hendon Hooker than Will Levis, personally.
Yeah, I mean, Jared Goff played well last year, but there's a reason Detroit drafted Hendon Hooker.
Yeah, for sure. 31, I have Israel Abanikanda, running back from Pittsburgh. He is at the Jets now. I think he has a pretty strong chance to be the RB2. I think he can beat out Zonovan Knight and Michael Carter to be the RB2. Obviously, crowded backfield there, but I think he's really good. 32, Luke Schoonmaker out of Michigan. I think he has a strong chance to win the tight end 1 job in Dallas. So that's something to watch for.
And I don't know if we have like sleepers, or if we're going to talk about like rookie sleepers or anything. He would be one of mine. We saw what Dalton Schultz has done the last couple of years at Dallas. Dak Prescott loves throwing over the middle of the field.
Completely agree. And then, I'll just cruise through these. So Chase Brown, 33, running back out of Illinois. He is now at Cincinnati. We'll see what happens to Joe Mixon. That's pretty much the only reason to pay attention to him. Zach Evans, 34. I'm much lower on him than other people. Running back out of Ole Miss is now with the Rams. He's nothing. Evan Hull, 35, running back out of Northwestern. At the Colts, I'm much higher on him than other people. I think he can be the Nyheim Hines role, the Kenneth Gainwell role in this new Colts offense. I think he complements Jonathan Taylor. 36, Brenton Strange, tight end out of Penn State, is now at Jacksonville. Pretty athletic guy, more of a blocker to start his career. but the fact that the tight end ahead of him is Evan Engram, and we're talking about Evan Engram being a awesome fantasy star this year. Every other year of his career, he's gotten hurt. So I'm just going to assume he'll regress to the mean, and that's Evan Engram gets hurt. Brenton Strange is the tight end one there. Eric Gray, 37, Oklahoma running back, backing up Saquon Barkley. I don't think he's that great, but he's the backup of Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, right. I was going to say he's another one that I would like. I drafted him in one of our leagues that I have Saquon.
Yeah, and that's fair. I would assume the Giants make another move, but if he impresses enough, maybe they won't. 38, I have Deuce Vaughn, running back out of Kansas State. Obviously, his dad works for the Cowboys. We saw that cool video. Running back for the Cowboys. I think Jerry Jones really wants Deuce Vaughn to be good.
Yep.
And I think that's the best thing you can say about him.
He will be used.
Yeah, he'll make the team. Dwayne McBride, I have at 39, running back for the Vikings. People are assuming Dalvin Cook's not there. Even if Dalvin Cook gets traded or cut, I think they sign another veteran. But maybe McBride's a thing. I just don't think so.
The sneaky landing spot for Zeke.
It is, for sure. I also think Zeke could go to, I was thinking about this today. I think Zeke could go to the Browns, back to Ohio, to back up Nick Chubb, or he could go to, what was the other fucking team? I'll think of it in a second. And then my last ranked player, 40th, I have Charlie Jones out of Purdue. He is a wide receiver in Cincinnati. We'll see what they do with all those contracts, essentially. But I think he's a pretty good player. So just looking at my rankings really quick, just players I'm higher on, lower on, and then we'll get into sleepers, which is kind of along the same thought process, I suppose. I'm higher on Anthony Richardson. I'm much higher on Mingo and Mims than the ADP. I'm higher on Sam Laporta, Josh Downs, Cedric Tillman, Tank Dell, Michael Wilson, and I think Schoonmaker and Evan Hull. I'm lower on Zay Flowers for sure. I'm higher on Rashee Rice too. I'm lower on Ashane. How do you say it, Trevor? How's the correct way to say it?
And I just looked it up. It is A-Chain. Although Ashane sounds cooler.
It's like Ashante.
For sure. I'm lower on Kincaid. I'm lower on Mayer. Lower on Kendry Miller. Quite a bit lower on him. And, Packard guy. Lower on Jaden Reed. And Will Levis. But, let's be honest. Don't draft Will Levis.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do it. You don't want to be that guy that has Will Levis. As someone who owns Ryan Tannehill in 2 dynasty leagues, stay away. Just you don't want to have the next Ryan Tannehill.
As someone who just traded Zach for Ryan Tannehill, stay away.
Oh, I have Ryan Tannehill 1 dynasty league.
I was desperate for a quarterback in that league.
Tannehill's going to be around.
He's a guy.
We can drop Brady, can't we?
I wouldn't.
Tom Brady?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's now an NFL owner, I think.
Oh, true. I forgot about that.
Yeah. I mean, maybe not.
He's going to be Jackie Moon for the Raiders.
Maybe. I mean, we know Jimmy Garoppolo is going to get hurt, and I think their backup is still Hoyer. So, fuck it.
Those 3 were together before in New England.
That's true. Perfect. And is Stidham there? No, Stidham went somewhere else. Is he in Denver?
He's not in New England?
No, he was with the Raiders, was good last year.
Was he ever in New England? I'm thinking of Zappy.
Stidham? Well, Stidham started in New England.
Okay. Also, Josh McDaniels is in Oakland or Vegas.
Stidham is on Denver.
Yeah, bingo. He is going to lose his job to Ben DiNucci. But yeah, so those are the rankings. We can get into sleepers then, and then we'll answer questions like best strategy to start your dynasty draft search. I see your question in the chat. Other people send in your questions as well. But let's just kind of go one by one in terms of sleepers and just give you a reason why. So I'll start with saying, who do I want to start with? I'll start with Michael Wilson. Like I said, Michael Wilson, I ranked 25th. The sleeper ADP on Michael Wilson is 45. So he's pretty much not getting drafted in rookie drafts. He only went in the third round in the actual draft because he's injury prone. And I don't think that's even fair. I think he's got a couple fluke season ending injuries. I think he's a second round talent. I think the wide receiver room is going to clear up with DeAndre Hopkins out of town. So I really like Michael Wilson, especially if he's just your free lottery ticket in the last round of your fantasy rookie draft. I like him a lot.
I agree.
Trevor, who's your first sleeper?
It hurts me to say this, and when I say sleeper, I mean like probably pick up with like one of the last picks of the draft or as a free agent if you want to, because like don't take him in the fourth. Dontavian Wicks for the Packers.
Sure.
I am not sold. Christian Watson's going to be the one. I'm not sold on Dobbs' role. I'm not sold on Torrey, Melton, DeGuara, Davis. We talked about their tight end problems. He's tall. He can jump. He's a huge target, and we know Love isn't exactly accurate. I can see him being a safety valve real quick, especially if Watson has some more problems with drops this year. I think the best thing about him is you probably don't need to waste a pick on him either.
I think that's fair.
Yep, I agree.
Before you give yours, Luke, Wicks is also one of those guys who's going to be he's going to be a training camp MVP.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like I can pretty much guarantee it. He's going to be making flashy plays. I don't think it means anything. I don't think he's that good, but he's one of those guys. Like once he makes some headlines in practice and there's those highlights, trade him to someone in your league that really likes him. Maybe become something, but I think his value is for sure going to rise no matter what.
Especially if you have someone in your league who's a Packer fan.
Yeah. Luke, what's your sleeper?
I kind of talked about him already, but Schoonmaker at Dallas. We've seen, like, I mean, I'll just reiterate what I said. Like, Dak Prescott loves to throw over the middle of the field. I think CeeDee Lamb is great at kind of that middle to deep area. And I, they got guys on the outside, like short underneath route, like that screams Schoonmaker to me. I'm like, is Peyton Hendershot shoot? Is he going to do anything? Is Jake Ferguson going to do anything? As much as we all love Jake Ferguson, I think we're all on the same boat as this here. So like, I think there's a role probably day one, week one for Schoonmaker.
Yeah, I'm a Jake Ferguson guy, so I like him. But to say that Schoonmaker couldn't beat out Ferguson and Peyton Hendershot, as Luke calls them, quite the shot at down south to Dallas. But like clearly, this job's fully up for grabs.
Yeah,
like I don't think anyone's coming in with an advantage or anything. Schoonmaker, I think, was taken in the second round.
Sounds right.
So he's either second or third. I think second. So obviously Dallas likes him. So I think they want him to win that job.
And I think that's a big thing, like just kind of getting off rookies here, just talking football. I think that's a big thing. Like, and I know football doesn't start for another, 8 months or whatever. Nobody's really talking about that Dallas tight end room right now. No. I think losing Dalton Schultz is a huge fucking loss for Dallas.
He was franchise tagged last year. Clearly they like him. We'll see what the new Dallas offense looks like, but I'm pretty confident it's going to feature the tight end.
Who took over Kellen Moore's spot?
I mean, basically Mike McCarthy, but let's just see.
Also, Mike McCarthy started as a tight end coach for everyone.
Brian Schottenheimer.
Okay.
So he'll use a tight end.
Yep.
Okay, so and really quick, once this loads here. So Schoonmaker has an ADP of 40th. So again, I am 32nd, so I'm higher, but 40th. He might not get drafted in your rookie draft. And then Dontavian Wicks is for sure not getting really drafted unless it's like super, super deep. So he's someone you probably could pick up afterwards or take with your last round pick, which is pretty much just taking a flyer on somebody anyway. Another one I'll go with then after Michael. I'll go Sam Laporta. I just think Sam Laporta is really fucking good at football. And he's a really good blocker as well. So he's going to be on the field all 3 downs. We saw after trading away TJ Hawkinson, we saw Detroit just kind of go on a run of a different tight end scoring every single week. But they still don't have like a good tight end outside of Sam Laporta. So I think he's a day one starter. I think he's a big he's a big target. He's going to run good routes, and he is extremely dangerous after the catch. So I just think they're going to get the ball in his hands, and he's just going to make magic. I think St. Brown is very similar in that regard too. So I think Detroit's offense is going to be pretty good, especially with everyone keying on the run. He's just going to be a great valve there. So I think he's a tight end one of the future, to be completely honest. Like I said, I rank him 17th. ADP is 27th. I wouldn't leave the second round without taking him. Like, I wouldn't risk it. I think he's worth it.
I think you can make a strong argument that out of everybody that'll be drafted in your dynasty draft, in your rookie draft, he might have had the best landing spot out of everybody. Not only Detroit, but with Dan Campbell at coach, please.
On top of all that, I mean, we talked about the last 4 years how hard it is to find a good tight end. I think in Dynasty there's maybe 5, solid starters. I'm not saying that Laporte is going to be a solid starter for 15 years, but at least it's someone to fill a spot that's really hard to find.
Yeah, I mean, it's not very often that tight ends are featured in an offense, so I think he already has that advantage. A lot of times they eat into each other. They play 2 tight end sets, and there's just another good threat. He doesn't have that. There's a long line of successful Iowa tight ends. So if you're taking a tight end from school, I think that's good. And to your point, Trevor, like, Dan Campbell knows how to coach tight ends. He was a tight end in the NFL for many years.
Coach Dan Arnold, Jaguars legend.
He did. That's big. There's nothing else you can say after that. So, yeah, perfect landing spot. Trevor, do you have another sleeper?
Yes, I do. I forgot about him. He's going to be another guy you can probably wait on or take at the very end. I'm super high on A.T. Perry for absolutely no reason. I know he's with the Saints, but like the Saints wide receiver room outside of Chris Olave is an absolute landmine. Like, do we really think Michael Thomas is going to come back effective? On top of that, dude's 6'5". I know he's a little skinny. He's not super fast, but like at the end of the rounds and for players, like I just look for guys who are productive. Maybe they don't have the measurables, but dude's an absolute force at Wake Forest. Again, I know it's Wake Forest, but you can't ask much more for him than to make plays, and that's what he did. And so coming into a weak room with the questionable quarterback, he's a big body. I mean, in the red zone, who knows? He could be the guy because at tight end, Juwan Johnson, he's obviously a good guy, in the red zone. Fuck you, Luke. Taysom Hill is technically a tight end, but he's just a big body. I like him a lot. He's productive.
I think Foster Moreau is there now as well.
Third string.
But yeah, I mean, there's few wide receiver rooms around the NFL where a rookie can step in and like compete right away, like legitimately, especially if you're a late round draft pick. I'm not sure when he was drafted, but it wasn't super early.
Sixth round.
So, I mean, yeah, I think that's completely fair. And I would assume the passing game there gets better. I don't love Derek Carr by any stretch of the imagination, but I think he's better than what they had last year. Luke, do you have another sleeper?
I do. And I don't necessarily know if this is a guy like, yes, you absolutely have to have him. I think he's worth a look. It's Puka Nacua at the Rams. I think we're all in the same boat that the Rams are kind of a bounce back candidate this year. The Allen Robinson experiment obviously didn't work. I mean, he's behind Ben Skoranek right now for that outside receiver. I know the Rams love Ben Skoranek, but I mean, Puka's got great size. I mean, he in college he shows he can go up and grab balls. We all know Matt Stafford loves to chuck the ball deep. He's a guy that I can probably guarantee you is going to go undrafted in your draft. I think he's worth a look. This Rams offense is really interesting to me. And we know McVay likes to get moving here a little bit. That screams, a lot of receivers coming in and out. So I definitely think he's at least worth a look if you have an open roster spot or want to take a chance on a receiver.
McVay is also not afraid to invest time developing like late round wide receivers. Yeah. Obviously, like they has producers all over the field that were late round guys. So yeah, I think that's completely fair. I think his name he's a completely different type of player, but his name is too much like Tutu Atwell for me. And I'm still waiting on Tutu Atwell to be a
right.
He went to BYU. home of Jamal Williams, and he didn't
True.
get kicked out of there. So
Home of Jimmy Fredette.
It is the kingdom of Jimmy Fredette. I'll just fire these out. Like I just took my rankings and compared them to the ADPs to the players I'm most higher on. Marvin Mims, 21 higher. I guess he's a sleeper. I just don't consider him a sleeper. Like I said, I ranked him 9th overall. So definitely like him. Michael Wilson, I'm 20 spots higher on at 25. Jonathan Mingo, again, I ranked him 8th overall, but I'm 17 spots higher on him. So kind of a sleeper, I guess. And then Cedric Tillman from Tennessee, now in Cleveland. I'm 14 spots higher on him at 22. So those are a list of guys. And it kind of screams to me, I guess. I bring this to you guys because you guys kind of picked around this range as well. If you are in like the back half of your first round of your draft or something, and you don't have a significant need at quarterback, and you're just hoping a quarterback falls, or first thing I trade.
Time out, Zach. You're going,
no. Can you hear me?
Nuts. What?
Oh no.
All right,
here?
Luke. I'll post. Oh wait, he's back. He's back.
Am I here?
Yep, we got you.
When did I cut out?
Oh, your whole thing was static.
Your whole question. As soon as you started the question, you cut out.
Perfect. Let's try it one more time. So if you pick in the
now your
back
audio's way behind.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's all right. It's kind of cool. Go nuts.
You guys talk. I'm gonna refresh.
All right. So I'll ask the question that maybe he was thinking of asking. You have no needs. You're in the back of the draft. Are you trading out? Are you taking a quarterback? What's your move if you're at the back half of the draft?
You there, Zach?
Is this better?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay. So one more time. If you are picking in the back half of the first round and you don't like have a significant need at quarterback and you're just hoping one falls, I think I personally would be trying to trade into the earlier middle second round. Like I'm trying to trade back because I think that tier is really large and there's players that I would grade as first round guys that are going like late second, early third. So I think that would be my strategy.
I 100% agree with you. To be honest, like, yes, I agree with you to trade back and maybe get early second round, mid second round, whatever. I almost want to try to, use that first round pick to trade into get another first round pick next year. Just because, there's some awesome players coming next year. But just in terms of this year, absolutely. I don't think there's a need for, a championship winning team to draft like a Zay Flowers 112 or something like that when you get Laporta 124,
Yeah, I mean that's exactly what I did. I mean I have 3 first round picks next year. Granted I was gifted the one, so that's different. But like I don't see anything that would like outside the top 3. If you don't have any glaring needs, I don't see why you'd want to pick 4th, 5th, 6th, even at the end, unless somebody crazy fell. I would completely trade out, and maybe if you have to trade back in instead. I feel like that would be better than getting a couple mid picks.
Yeah. So like Zay Flowers, like I said, I think is going 10th, or I've seen some places a little bit earlier. So just using him as a specific example, like people I ranked higher are Stroud, Mims, Mingo, Charbonnet. I would rather have one of those guys plus like a 4th round pick or something. Let's just say someone trades up and that's the value you get. I'd rather have fucking Sam Laporta in a 3rd or something like that. So it would be like Sam Laporta and Michael Wilson. I'd rather have both of them than just Zay Flowers.
100% agree.
If we're trying to apply what we would be getting.
Yeah. I also had a couple quarterback sleepers. I mean, they're the big name guys. Like Stetson Bennett is going to start if Matt Stafford's hurt again. I think Max Duggan easily beats out Jacob Eason for that backup spot at the Chargers. And I think I know our buddy Henry is high on him. Jake Hayner, I think I think Derek Carr sucks. I think Jameis Winston's out of there next year. I think there's something invested in Hayner here.
Did you see
No.
Hayner's photo shoot?
I did.
Completely disagree. I saw those photos. There's no way this man plays a snap in the NFL.
No, cannot stand him. I think Stetson Bennett's interesting though. Like if you're in a super deep dynasty league and you have taxi squad spot that you can just store a guy, I don't mind storing Stetson Bennett. I just think he's a winner. Mm-hmm. So I feel like he's gonna find his way onto the field at some point.
Did you see that there's no evidence that he's graduated from Georgia?
He probably isn't. That's funny. There's some shit happening in Athens, Georgia. It's
also, you know what? Let's not discount him for that either. Like the players that do graduate, they ain't doing their fucking homework. Like, stop it. Like, at least the guy is being true to himself.
Fair.
He sure is. I don't have the question here anymore, but
yeah, I got it. Search asked us, what's your strategy? Do you pick quarterback, wide receiver, or running back first round? And then his follow-up question is, what's the best strategy to start?
Well, like I said, I guess best strategy, and it's not a real answer. It's just kind of a cop-out answer. But like I said, I'm going best available pretty much no matter what. Even if I have a need at quarterback, even if I have a need at running back, whatever the situation is, like I'm setting the values for my player and I'm going best available if we're just talking rookie draft. Just because like if I pick the guy I think is good and I'm correct and they produce, then I can package, I can trade, I can do whatever I have to do to get the position I need. And it's a long fucking off season. So like there's a lot of things you can do. If you're rolling into the season, you still have a desperate need at quarterback, trade a draft pick. Like do whatever you got to do. I'm just trying to get as many playmakers on my team as possible. And if that means I have 15 amazing wide receivers and only 2 good running backs, fine, because I'll trade. That means those other teams don't have those good players and they need them.
Yeah,
that's it.
I'm with you on that. The other strategy I have is we just talked about it. I think there's about 7, 8 guys, maybe 9 guys who are really worthy of a first round pick. If you're kind of sitting in that 10, 11, 12 spot, look to trade out of it. If that means grabbing picks next year, or grabbing a couple second rounders, third rounder, however that works. Build up some draft picks if you have the 10th, 11th, or 12th spot in the first round.
Yeah, for me, since those two were kind of mine, except I'm big on stash and running backs, it would kind of be a different part of the trade too. If you don't like anybody, just trade out. Like you don't lose anything by trading for first round picks next year. Like my team in the Dynasty League with the 2 quarterback is garbage. It's horrible. But like you understand, if you want to win that league, you can't just win it in a year. So build for the future. Maybe don't go the complete Oklahoma City Thunder route and get like every first round pick, but like you're going to be handcuffed a lot more if you make a bad pick. Like let's say, you think you have to make it, so you take a Zay Flowers, than you would be if you trade for a first next year. And maybe even if you trade out of it, like you're still not out anything, but a bad pick can set you back a long ways.
Yeah, 2 other things like stashing running backs I like, especially if you're stashing running backs from like if you're in those 4th rounds, if your league has a 5th round like we do, and it's like I don't even know these players, I think default to running back at that point.
Yeah.
Because there's so many stories where it's like undrafted running back, 7th round running back is amazing this year just because running back truly is a reactionary position. You get the ball and you go. Don't get fucking tackled. So like you can step in and be good right away. Running back's the most NFL ready position on the field coming in. So like those are the players that you're trying to just stash. And again, if they're good, maybe trade them away. And then the other one is if you are picking like, let's say you're a 10-team league and you pick 110 and you're trying to trade out or whatever. If you can trade your 110 for a first round next year for somebody, do it, because the chances are that the first round you get next year is earlier than the 10th pick is pretty high.
Yep.
Like If you can get a better value, absolutely, you're always trying to do that. If you're going 2-8 and you're trading with somebody that has a dog shit team and you're getting a second round pick from them, they're probably a top 3 second round pick next year. Like, think of it that way as well.
If people are going to panic and try to build a team because they think they need to, be in the mix every year, take advantage of that. Because when their picks are shit, they're going to get more down the dog hole, and that's basically a team you don't even have to worry about the next year.
And current players that are producing, and this is just personal preference, but players that are producing are always more valuable than draft picks.
100%.
To me. Like, we see it every year just in the actual NFL. It's like, this player got traded for a fucking third.
Yep.
Like, what are we doing? Like, this guy is a 1,000-yard wide receiver, and you haven't drafted a good third-round player in a decade. Like, why do you think you can draft somebody good in the third round when there's this guy just floating out there? And yes, I am talking about the Packers, but stuff like that. Like, there's so many unknowns. More players don't pan out than do. Like, that's just the situation. That's the NFL. That's sports professionally. So always, if you can trade a pick and get a starter for your team, do it.
The Rams won a Super Bowl doing it.
Yeah.
The Eagles are going to win a Super Bowl doing it.
No shit. The Eagles are. The only good thing about the Eagles is that they lost so many coaches. So they may not be as good as they were last year, but their players are so good.
Yeah, I also get that he's doing a lot of good stuff for Philadelphia, but we got to stop talking like Howie Roseman is the next coming of Jesus Christ here.
Yeah. He's fun, though.
Right.
He is playing Madden franchise mode.
Mm-hmm.
And I respect it. Like, he makes it fun. I wish he was my GM. I just like making moves. Let's make some moves. Let's change some shit.
Without saying,
even if your team sucks, you got the unknown of what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Make some moves without saying that you're going to make moves and saying you're in the final for every single move that's ever happened in NFL history.
We are in the mix.
Yeah.
And either go all in or don't.
Talk about the Green Bay Packers. We offered Devontae Adams more money. Then Devontae Adams goes on I Am Athlete this week and says, actually, no, they didn't.
Yep.
Weird. Crazy. If only there was a Green Bay Packers podcast that said that during then.
Say it louder for the people in the back.
Listen to Lombardi Sweep. Good show. Good show.
I have one question for you guys. It's kind of like, what are we doing here? And this is not necessarily rookie, just kind of dynasty stuff. Should Breece Hall be ranked ahead of Jonathan Taylor in dynasty?
No.
I've seen that thing going around lately.
I think they're close.
I would agree. But, I mean, Breece Hall hasn't gotten 2,000 or close to 2,000 yards.
I agree. And, can he hold up? I don't know. Breece Hall's in such a better position, situation, because his offensive line is better. His quarterback's better. His offense is better.
I'm sorry. That's another myth that we need to stop, that the Colts have the greatest offensive line to ever exist. They haven't had it for 6 years now.
It was the highest paid last year.
Yeah.
The highest paid offensive line in the league last year.
No.
And they didn't even execute a block until Jeff Saturday came to town.
Right.
And they still weren't very good.
I forgot that was last year. We can't let people forget that Jeff Saturday just got hired out of the blue.
And we can't let people forget that the Raiders lost the first game to Jeff Saturday.
Damn right they did.
They should be relegated.
And
we
the
need
Vikings
relegation.
By 32 points to the Colts?
Yeah.
That's one. I think every sports league, though, should have relegation. 100%.
Just have 2 16-team leagues.
Who won the XFL?
Let's not go that far.
I'm just asking.
I don't know.
Okay.
A team that went 4-7 in the regular season and only made it because it had to be 2 teams from each division.
I know
because XFL is dumb as hell.
The Defenders were in it. I don't know if they won or not.
They did not.
Okay, so whoever they were playing, I think give them a shot in Vegas. Fuck the Raiders.
No, because they're from St. Louis. We shouldn't give them a team.
Okay, fair.
Yeah, St. Louis doesn't deserve anything.
Fair.
Although I do like the name Battlehawks. I respect it.
That's a good name.
Speaking of that, Washington's going to have to change their name again?
They have to?
Or did you hear about that? They didn't get the copyright because somebody already had a copyright on the name pending.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Back
to the Redskins. Fuck it.
Back to the football team, man.
What was it? The Red Hogs?
Or the Red Hogs is good. The Red Wolves is good.
Red Wolves.
Red Wolves is fun. That is good.
Funeral Directors is still out there.
I also had one more thing that I wanted to bring up to you guys, not football related at all.
Perfect.
Did you know that there's Dairy Queens that still exist without the grill in them?
Yep. One of them's in Wausau.
I had no idea. I looked up, I wanted a Blizzard, so I went to one in Green Bay. I'm like, all right, I'll get dinner here and everything too. And I went, can I get a chicken strip basket? Oh, we don't do food here. I'm like, fuck. And so I ended up just getting the Blizzard.
Luke, what kind of Blizzard did you get?
I got Oreo today.
Okay. That's good. Taking steps in the right direction.
I mean, I like Oreo.
No, I know. We're taking steps in the right direction.
Oreo's good.
I had a cotton candy earlier this week.
No, okay. See.
If spoiler alert, if anyone cares, if we do a Flurry Sports podcast, us three this week, I'll get a cotton candy Blizzard. I'll try it on the air.
Cool.
It'll be the mini size.
Yeah.
But I will do it.
Mini size is probably the best for cotton candy. I've had larges and gotten big gut rot after them.
I imagine. Yeah. It's fucking, I bet it's so sweet.
It's very sweet.
Man. It's like not what I like at all.
Yeah, you're going to hate it. I know you're going to, but I like it.
I will try. I'll go to it with an open mind because I don't hate cotton candy. No. I just don't know why. Like right now, we got like vanilla ice cream here and like put rhubarb sauce on it because it's sour and it's good. That's perfect. I don't want it to be sweet on sweet. That's gross.
You can't say that. Strawberry rhubarb pie hits differently. It's best pie.
You should come to Shawano. You should come to Shawano. I think in June they have Rhubarb Fest.
Oh, when in June? I'll be in Fond du Lac June 10th.
Well, that's not very close to Shawano.
I'm going to Duluth for their Rhubarb Fest in June, so maybe it's the same time. Maybe.
Seeing I normally live in Milwaukee, Luke, Fond du Lac is probably the closest we're going to get.
If you guys are watching this, the stream back, or if this is in a video or whatever, first off, subscribe. But comment again if you have any Dynasty questions, or fantasy questions in general. But comment what you would want in your perfect fantasy football draft kit for this year. Flurry Sports is going to be putting out a draft kit. We will obviously be having our rankings in there. We will have a strength of schedule. We'll have a breakdown of the bye weeks. We will have a boom bust player measurement and rankings, and we will have kind of like a replacement. I can't remember what I called it before, but like if you draft a quarterback with a bye week of 7, who's a possible handcuff quarterback you could have has a great matchup week 7. We'll have stuff like that as well. Trevor,
and let us know how far away you are from Shawano. In miles. We don't do the kilometer bullshit.
No, not in miles, in hours or minutes.
Walking, sure. Bus, or car?
That's the fun.
Car. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Also comment your rookie sleepers. I totally don't know any. I mean we named off like probably 9 here. Well, that's not what I meant to say. I said I'm open to all ideas. I have another rookie draft coming up. We named off 9 that I love, but I'm curious what everyone else thinks as well.
So right before we go, then Luke, you had the question. What was it? Who would you select with which picks?
Yeah, so in a startup dynasty draft, 2 quarterback league, I have the very first pick, 12 team league. I have no idea who to pick at 24 and 25 on the turn, second, third round turn.
24, 25.
Because the obvious pick. I will have Patrick Mahomes. And then do you go running back? Do you go a young receiver? I don't know.
So really quick though, just because I'm curious, maybe for other people who don't have a league yet, did you go through and draft like all existing players, or you're going to do that later, and then you're having a separate rookie draft?
All players are going to be in this draft in a week. Every player who's in the NFL right now will be in this draft.
Okay, so it's pick 24, 25, every player.
Yes.
And you're going with Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes will be number 1 pick.
Man, let me look really quick.
Or I don't do something crazy and go Anthony Richardson there, do I?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think maybe depending on how the draft falls, 2 quarterbacks. I'm feeling almost young receiver. Running backs never have a long shelf life, and they kind of come and go.
Or do I just say fuck it and go for maybe a 1 year, 2 year championship? And I mean, it's way too high to draft Derrick Henry in a
Take it from me.
dynasty
Don't
league.
do that. That's a bad decision.
Okay,
Don't do
all right,
that.
all right.
Okay, if we're just going off of what Fantasy Pros has for their Superflex Dynasty PPR 24-25, again, I wouldn't do this, but they have Tyreek Hill at 24, and then they have Kyle Pitts at 25. Don't take Kyle
Those
Pitts.
are both
I
horrible.
100% agree.
I don't mind Tyreek Hill. I don't think I'd do it, but do
Isn't he
not
like
take
30 already? Or is he younger?
Tyreek Hill's 29.
He's close. Yeah.
Okay.
The thought also popped in my head to grab Travis Kelce there. If I have Mahomes.
I wouldn't do that. He's got maybe like 2-3 more good years. I wouldn't mind going T. Higgins there. I wouldn't mind Olave.
I just before you answer, I just don't want to be in a spot where, I'm like 1 or 2 years away sitting here with Patrick Mahomes,
I gauge what everyone else is doing, but I kind of feel like you need a quarterback with one of those 2 picks again.
That's what I thought as well.
And if that's the case, I think you could get possibly Justin Fields in there, which I don't mind.
Ooh.
I don't mind going a Dak Prescott. I would love. I think you can get Deshaun Watson, and he's young. He's what, like 26?
26, 27, something like that.
Yeah. So I don't mind him and a good receiver.
I think a Cooper Kupp's going around there too.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's a bad option at all. Or like even a Tyreek Hill, like even Devontae Adams, I don't think is a horrible option there.
I would just pick a wide receiver is good. I don't think I would worry too much about age unless you're going like, obviously I wouldn't take Keenan Allen early.
Right.
I wouldn't take stuff like if they're under 30, I think go for it. Or 30 or, is Devontae 30 exactly? Something like that.
29, 30, somewhere in there.
Like I'm not devaluing Devontae in the slightest because of his age.
And then I would hope that, I can like a Derrick Henry or a Nick Chubb who drops to that 4th, 5th round spot.
What would that be then? Would that be around 48?
Yeah, 40, 48, 49, 50, somewhere in there.
So just looking at this, and I don't think he would be here, but they have at 52, they have Nick Chubb, which awesome if you can get him at 52.
I think I've been doing a couple mock drafts. I think like Derrick Henry is ranked 57 right now in Dynasty.
Yeah, he's pretty late. He's got to be pretty late. Tua is at 50. Again, he's not a terrible quarterback too. Damian Pierce is at 61. He's obviously super young. That's a great one.
I like that.
With Derrick Henry, they have at 66. J.K. Dobbins at 65.
Okay, so there's guys.
I mean, if you can just take those guys right there, let's say you go Mahomes, Watson, take one of the wide receivers, and then a Pierce and a Henry. I mean, you're talking about you got a little bit of the future and a little bit now right there.
True.
Looking at tight ends, because I think that's the interesting one. Because people, and I don't think you could truly gauge it based on rankings because everyone grades tight ends differently. Like I said, Kyle Pitts, they have it as the top tight end.
Yeah, I don't want Kyle Pitts.
At 25, definitely not. Travis Kelce, they have at 39. Mark Andrews at 42. Hawkinson at 68, which I think is good value. What's that, Trevor?
Mark Andrews is young. He's only like 26, 27, isn't he?
But in diabetes years, it's like 45.
It's true.
Dallas Goedert at 83. George Kittle, 85.
For those counting at home, Mark Andrews is 27 years old.
Okay. Pat Fryermuth at 97.
Yeah.
97. He's good. Njoku, I think, is interesting. Michael Mayer, Sam Laporta. Sam Laporta's at 133. Yeah, you're fine. Chig Okonkwo is at 136. I like him a lot. Dalton Schultz, 153. He can't be very old.
Oh, look.
He just got off the franchise tag. So he's probably 26, 25.
Dalton Schultz is 26. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
So
I'm happy I talked that out.
Yeah, it's kind of definitely watch it because it feels like there's some really good running backs that are young that they have ranked really low, which I find weird.
Sure.
Really weird. But hell, If you can do it,
I'll do a mock draft tonight and I'll send it to you guys.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I think I'm starting up another dynasty at some point here soon too. So we shall see. Also, we should do the dynasty owner thing at some point soon.
Agreed.
That's going to be so fucking confusing.
It'd be fun though.
It's gonna be good content.
And if anyone's listening during the season, we talk a lot redraft. Get into a dynasty league. Get a good group of buddies into a dynasty league. It's very fun, year-round league. It's very fun.
I was going to say that too. I was the biggest anti-dynasty league guy ever. I thought dynasty were the dumbest things ever. How can this be fun? You have the same roster year to year. It's so much more fun than you expect. And after you go dynasty, you're not going to want to go back to redraft.
Everybody loves doing fantasy drafts and Madden and doing all that. It's the exact same thing, just in real life.
And the original Dynasty draft, oh my God, it's the best thing ever.
It's electric. It's electric.
I wonder, well, first off, I kind of want to upgrade and the Dynasty owner thing as an experiment into that, but I want to do a real Dynasty league with salaries, like going based on salaries. There's a couple leagues that do that. I think that would be really fun to do with the Flurry group or something.
It definitely give a lot more parity in Dynasty leagues.
For sure. Also, I just wonder how an auction would go.
Interesting.
Not well.
It would take forever.
Right.
But that would be so much strategy.
Mm-hmm. You guys, yeah. Fucking in our auction last year, Trevor made me spend all my money on Devontae Adams and Tyreek Hill the first 2 picks.
Could you imagine if you have no money and you're filling out the rest of your 30 fantasy spots? And who's going to be the dick that keeps nominating kickers?
I always do that all the time. I have no shame.
Started with a kicker. Started with a fucking defense.
Yeah, that would be interesting, actually. But yeah, let us know how you do your dynasty leagues. Let us know how far away you are from Shauno, and tell us what you want in your fantasy football draft kit, or if you want other dynasty content as well, because we can do other dynasty content leading up to stuff. But on FlurrySports.org, there's going to be a lot of fantasy football content to come. And on this channel, whether you are watching on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, etc., there's a lot coming. So subscribe, follow, whatever it is, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Peace.